SVP is mixing things up, and digital TV, it'll never be the same. SVP TV, we're family. We're gonna make you fall in love with SVP. Download the SVP app today on Roku, Apple, and Fire TV. Watch us. You know why? We're gonna make you fall in love with SVP TV. You're talking about a good time shield. When we all know. Come on now. Center Stage Gospel Music live from Memphis, Tennessee. Featuring gospel artists from around the world. Toe-tapping, hand-clapping, down-home gospel music. Watch on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and your local Comcast. Download the SVP TV app now on your smart television and mobile device. Center Stage Gospel season premieres Sunday, 8 p.m. Central.
Welcome to Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill. I'm your host. I got my main man with me, Jerome.
What's up, Daryl?
Man, we back in the saddle again.
Yes, sir. It's a cold one, though.
Oh, goodness. Oh, wow. So we need to tell you, if you want to call, pick up the phone and call. I mean, we taking live calls.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really for Facebook, because Facebook Live gets us Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick,
SVP
TV network.
Yeah.
Oh,
app.
the app.
The most important one of all.
Yeah, everybody got an app.
Yes.
So it's the app. So we need to say welcome to California. My son out there, you know, I know he watches me every now and then.
And he said he picked up a couple of his buddies, too. They kind of have a watch party, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
have a watch party.
Good deal.
Welcome to Little Rock.
Yes.
Welcome to West Memphis, Arkansas. Welcome to Shelby County, Memphis. Welcome to Mississippi. And welcome to the great state of Missouri.
All right.
All right now. So, Jerome, today, man, I want to talk about, basically, it's a type of personal injury.
Okay.
But it's an accident.
Okay.
But it's not involving a car.
Okay.
It's involving a pedestrian.
Man.
You have you seen those?
I have seen. In fact, I think I saw where Tennessee and Memphis were probably the highest pedestrian deaths somewhere in the nation.
Yeah. So let me just tell people here. Everybody thinks if you get hit by a car and you crossing the street, the car is wrong.
Not necessarily. It depends on where you're crossing. And that's what's required. That's what the crosswalks are all about.
Mm-hmm.
It's so you can cross the street. We know that pedestrians pedestrians usually have the right of way there.
They do. They do. In certain senses.
And that's what the person is dependent on. Right turn on red, the pedestrian has the right of way.
Let me tell you
Is
how.
that right?
Yeah. Let me just tell you. I've been driving, Jerome, and I've seen the light has been green.
Oh.
Traffic flowing like it's supposed to be flowing, and people walk off the curb and walk into the traffic.
No.
And then they expect the traffic to stop.
No. Somebody is walking, the light has turned to green, and somebody will step out in traffic.
And they don't walk across the crossway.
They're not even at the crosswalk.
They're not at the crossway. And what I mean when I say crossway,
Yeah.
at the corner.
I call it the crosswalk.
The crosswalk. I
Yeah.
like that. The crosswalk. You know, because there's a reason why they have crossings where lights are.
That's exactly right.
So that the pedestrians can see the light color.
In fact, even like you say, for the what we call the least sophisticated person in the law.
Yeah.
They even have a picture of an animal are ignoring it, and as a result, we're having a lot of pedestrians.
And the other thing about
injured.
it, the other thing about the crosswalk, it's also handicap equipped. If you are blind, there is a noise that comes on, and it's the clock ticker that lets the hearing impaired.
That's right.
know. I'm sorry, the seeing impaired.
Yeah.
Let the seeing impaired know that they can cross.
And that the time is running out. You need to quicken their pace a little bit.
Right.
And there you're right. I see it all the time too, where people, the crosswalk can be maybe 5 or 10 feet ahead, but people would determine that they're going to cross in an area that's not designated. And I believe if you hit there, it may not be in their charges.
Yeah,
If people would just stay on the scene. Now, if you leave the scene, you create another issue for you.
yeah. If you hit somebody
Yes.
and you leave the scene, it's not necessarily that you're at fault for the accident. You're at fault for leaving the scene of an accident, which is illegal.
With injuries.
With injuries.
For sure.
You may not be even if you've left the scene.
That's right.
You still may not be responsible for the accident.
That's exactly right.
So let me just say, I've represented people, and I normally reject those types of cases.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, if you're crossing anywhere other than a crosswalk, that's called jaywalking,
Ah.
and that's a criminal offense.
And are you automatically at fault because you didn't cross at a crosswalk?
I think there's an argument to say you are.
Yeah. And so that's almost like it's negligence
Yeah,
per se.
Negligence per se.
Yeah. So
So what ends up happening, I'm glad you said that,
Yeah.
Jerome. Because what somebody will say is, I was crossing the street and the person was speeding.
you're speeding. I hear that all the time. I hear it all the time. Even in regular automobile accidents, they must have been speeding.
Must have been
Because
speeding.
when I looked up, there was nobody there, and then all of a sudden, bam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's not a defense.
I agree.
Speeding means that person that hit you at an excessive speed was inappropriate.
Yes.
But guess what? You crossed in a spot that's inappropriate, so you're inappropriate.
Right.
So the question is, y'all two wrongs, which one of y'all are right?
And the thing about it too, there is we have comparative fault in Tennessee.
Right.
So it may be that the fault will what?
If it's 50-50, that means you get zero.
Right.
If you're the plaintiff and you're involved in an accident, car versus pedestrian, and let me just tell you,
I was
normally
gonna
pedestrian lose.
I was about to say that there. Is that really comparative fault with a pedestrian in a motor vehicle?
Well,
Because we know who's going to be the loser.
well, and maybe the person that gets hit by the motor vehicle should not be at fault because they're mentally challenged.
And I.
Well,
There you go again.
Yeah, you said there I go with that nonsense.
There you go again.
With that nonsense. Well, here's the reason why.
Well, first of all, if it goes to the jury is probably going to have some sympathy for a pedestrian versus a vehicle, because somebody has a higher what higher responsibility, higher what's the word I'm looking for there?
Yeah,
I think you might.
you're looking for
You might have
jury
a-
nullification
you
or
might
jury
have a
whatever.
higher duty. That's what
Higher
I'm looking
duty.
for. Higher duty to be watching for pedestrians, and that's why. Hence, whenever I'm in a school zone,
Now that's the difference.
I'm always watching for that child who's going to dart out in front of me.
Now that's a
You
difference,
see?
and the law does require you to do that.
Yeah, and I'm also going to have a heightened awareness too when I'm in when I see pedestrians. I'm going to have a higher awareness for the pedestrian who's going to step off the curb in front of me.
Now the law changes in a school zone.
For sure.
Because if you're in a school zone and you're speeding, even if somebody jaywalks a child,
Yeah.
and you're speeding,
Okay.
you're gonna have some problems.
I think you're right.
Because I think that's why they have most of the speed limits in the school zone 10 miles an hour.
Well, 10,
No,
10 15,
15,
20, somewhere like that.
Somewhere
never
that's
above 25.
Low speed.
Yeah, never above 25.
Because number one, and it'll have the signs, it says children crossing,
That's right.
children, beware of children. Because, in accidents involving children, it's presumed that children will dart out in the middle of the
That's
street.
exactly right.
So they don't get that. I've had a couple children cases, and
Have you there?
yeah, unfortunately, and normally those are viable cases. Those are
For the parents of the child.
for the parents of the child.
They're more than likely they're going.
They
More than
can't-
likely that's a pretty good case.
They can recover.
Okay.
But the problem with all of these cases is, in order to recover, whoever caused the accident has to have some money.
Yeah.
And,
And by money, you mean insurance.
insurance.
You're right.
Insurance. Because if they don't have insurance,
Oh,
they don't
my
have no money.
God.
Because, I mean, people that have at least $4 are going to buy some insurance.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Because that's all it takes is $4 there for insurance.
Well, I'm being facetious.
Okay.
But I mean,
I'm
but
gonna say
it's,
$4.
but
Because of the number of people in Tennessee in Memphis who are driving with no insurance, and you're saying that it's very reasonable there?
Man, look, you can get an uninsured motor, you can get a liability coverage with uninsured motorists, right?
Yes.
A liability means that the person that you hit or the person that you injured will be covered by your insurance.
Okay.
That's what liability means.
Right.
Uninsured motorist means if somebody hits you and they have no insurance, you will be covered.
Okay.
Or if somebody stole your car, damaged your car, if you have uninsured motorists, even if you have liability, if you have uninsured motorist coverage, it will cover your car.
Right.
And it'll cover personal injuries for you if somebody hits you and you're not at fault.
Right.
Liability covers you if you hit somebody
Right.
and you're at fault.
That's right.
You know, so that's the minimum you have to have. You can probably get liability insurance, man, $50, $60 a month.
I don't know about that, Darryl.
I think you can get about $60 a month. I'm just talking about liability insurance.
Just
Liability insurance.
liability.
$25,000
And what? And uninsured too.
Yeah.
For like $60 a month.
$75 a month.
Okay.
I mean, I think you could get that.
Okay.
You know, I mean,
Provided your driving record.
well, you can't be
It's not bad.
You can't have DUIs and driving while traffic tickets and all that, because
Okay.
insurance is So there's two people that's going to make it high. Number one is if you below the age of 25.
Okay.
So 18 to 25, that's a high number. Insurance is high for those people.
Okay.
And then 25 and above, it gets to be reasonable as long as you don't have a lot of traffic tickets and driving issues.
And they're even checking your credit report many times before they'll insure you too.
I didn't.
And so it's redlining. So somewhat
Yeah, I
it's
think-
akin to redlining
Yeah.
by a person's credit report
Yeah.
being below a certain
Yeah, I
amount.
don't. I had never heard that they was checking credit reports.
They do it all the time.
Yeah, but I mean that's not supposed to be a disqualifier. And if some insurance company is going to disqualify you because you got bad
Got
credit,
bad credit. Well,
Yeah.
because it looks like there's a possibility that a person will do something in an accident to try to recover because their credit score is so low.
yeah,
And the other thing too is when you sign a binder to get insurance, it's almost like signing a federal contract, isn't it there?
yeah, I guess you could say
Because you are required to be truthful, and if you falsify anything on an insurance claim or policy, you can wind up in a lot of trouble too.
that. Well, the biggest problem is they won't cover you.
Right.
And
But should they cover you and later on discover that the information you gave was incorrect? And a lot of times I see where people can have a person who lives in their home under the age of 21 and you don't disclose it.
yeah,
You've seen that too,
I
haven't
have
you?
seen that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, Jerome, because what Jerome is really saying to you is all insurance policy has a same household exclusion.
That's exactly right.
So anybody that lives in your household has to be on your policy or has to have their own policy
That's right.
if they're driving your vehicle. If they're not driving your vehicle, then it doesn't matter. But if they're driving your vehicle in your house, now it's different if if Jerome drove my vehicle.
Right.
My insurance will cover Jerome.
That's right.
Because Jerome doesn't live in my house, I loaned Jerome the vehicle.
Right.
As long as I gave him permission. Now, if Jerome stole my vehicle, insurance won't cover it. But if I loan Jerome, let him, hey, you use my vehicle.
You mean tell me I'm not able to just take your vehicle without your knowledge?
You're not able to joyride in my vehicle and get coverage? No.
But the other thing is too, Darryl, and that a lot of people would get caught up in, is that if you have teenagers in your home and you don't disclose that, because it's presumed that a teenager will steal a vehicle and drive it.
I don't know.
I think you have to disclose it,
You can, yeah, you have to just, I mean, I don't know.
that they're living in your home.
You know what? I don't know, Jerome.
You never seen that before?
I never, because I had my kids live with me, and I don't remember ever disclosing
That they live there?
now because
Did
my
they-
kids didn't.
Did they ever take your vehicle without your knowledge there, that you know of?
That gets you beat up.
I know they
That
get you beat up.
Get you beat pretty bad.
But
I heard my son did it once.
but they-
not mine, my wife's car.
they do it all of the time there. And after they get grown, then they'll start, laughing about it. Yeah, remember the time I took the car.
Now I ain't gonna lie to her. I did it, with my pops.
Right. And so when did you discover that your son took your wife's car without your all's knowledge?
My wife discovered it. I think.
Did he have an accident?
I think he might have did a little
dent or
a little
something?
scrape on him, because I think my wife came in and said, "What is this on my car?" And that's how
That's how she discovered
That's how
it.
she discovered it. I think. Yeah.
But it's inevitable that young people will take a vehicle without their parents' knowledge. And most of the time, they wind up leaving and coming back safely.
Mhm.
But it's the one time that they're involved in an accident
Well,
that can cause all
look,
kinds of
we
chaos.
may, at that particular time that my son did it, we may have contributed.
Oh,
And what I mean by that is, I mean, it's a simple way to prevent that. You just don't leave keys around for that to happen.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you just don't leave the keys.
Well, I mean, but there, why shouldn't we be able to?
Because they're knuckleheads. Just kids just do ignorant stuff, man.
That's true.
And so, you have to assume that they gonna do stupid stuff, like you just said.
What you knew or should have known, that if a key is available for a kid, eventually they know how to go and get the keys, and they think they can drive and probably
Yeah.
are not able to.
Yeah.
Because they've not had any training.
Yeah, and again, that was I think we attributed that to, because
In hindsight.
in hindsight we
Yeah.
attributed to, and my wife went off about it now.
Of course.
Because the car she had then was
A really nice vehicle.
extremely expensive vehicle, and this knucklehead who ain't got no license,
Right.
just gonna take it out and go joyriding with his friend.
And he made it all the way back?
He made it back. He
Oh,
made it back.
and only had a little scratch?
I think he may have gotten that scratch trying to pull it in the garage.
Uh-huh,
Trying to put it in the because she
Trying
back,
to put it back where.
yeah, she backs in the garage.
I see.
And you got to have a little bit of skill to back a car in, properly.
Had he not ever been taken driving
Yeah,
before?
we had.
You were letting him drive here?
No. We're letting them drive.
Uh,
Teaching them how to drive.
Okay.
But
But what we're talking about are very common occasions where an accident can occur with a minor and pedestrian stepping off the curb.
the
And I've
pedestrian,
seen it many times, and that's why I was telling you earlier, Daryl, that I'm just cognizant of the fact that whenever I see, particularly in a shopping area, we see it all the time too, and over in the square,
yeah,
where people are constantly moving back and
Yeah.
forth, and that's why the speed limit is only about 20
yeah,
to 25 miles an hour, because they're trying to cure for that.
Most of those shopping centers, Walmarts, Kroger's, and things of that,
Exactly.
they actually have a cross protection requirement. And basically, they say, and all of it says pedestrian has the right of way.
Of course.
And they walk like they got the right of way.
Well,
And
and they should.
Yeah.
Because you being there as a consumer yourself understand that you want to be able to bring your shopping cart from from the place of business and load your groceries or your merchandise that you've purchased, and not have some knucklehead driving through there like they're on the Indianapolis Speedway.
And see, but but Jerome, but that's not where we normally have our problems.
Okay, I agree.
We normally have our problems on the roadways, and there was a study that was done and it's like Union Avenue. Union Avenue, there's a lot of accidents, pedestrians getting hit by cars on Union Avenue.
That was before they changed it, because remember, you used to be able to be driving down Union and all of a sudden the lane changes would come up. Do you remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah. All of those, say they fixed some of
They fixed some of that,
fixed some of
didn't
that.
they? Yeah.
They've added some pedestrian crosswalks down there. They acknowledge that they need to do more. Poplar's the same way. Poplar Avenue.
It's a terrible place.
But did you know that the city doesn't really own a lot of those streets?
Oh, the state of Tennessee.
The state of Tennessee.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So TDOT.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Tennessee Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we just discovered that too,
Yeah.
when they were trying to widen.
Well, I discovered
Poplar.
it when I was trying to sue somebody over it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I found out that because I sent the notice letter to the
Oh,
city
to
of
the
Memphis.
to the wrong
To
party.
the city of Memphis.
Right.
And the city of Memphis sent me all this information and documentation. Said we don't own that. The
Okay.
state owns that street.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, really? And they said, yeah.
That's even deeper pockets, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, and see what you have to argue, like a street like Poplar or a street like Union, don't have proper crosswalks. So they have these long segments without street lights and without crossing walks. So how do you expect somebody to get across the street? You can't expect somebody to go from 240, where 240, when you get off the interstate on 240 on Union, and if you go, there's a light down there by the hospital.
Okay.
The next stoplight from there is down there by Methodist Central.
Right, and that First Tennessee Bank right there.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a light there.
Right.
The next light, so there's a light, so where Methodist Hospital, there's two lights between Methodist, where the floral shop is, I'm talking about on Union Avenue.
Right, I got you.
So there's a Tops Barbecue.
Right.
There's a light right there.
I got you.
And then if you go all the way down the other where the dry cleaner is and where the Crystals is, there's a
Gotcha.
light there.
But now remember, there is an overpass.
Yeah,
at
that's
Methodist.
that's
Right.
at Methodist. Yeah.
Right.
But I'm talking about on Union now.
Okay.
Now but the next light from where that Tops Barbecue is all the way down almost to where that Burger King is. That's almost a mile.
Okay.
So that means that
I got you.
that means that you can't cross the street. You have to walk all the way down 1 mile before you can cross the street to go on the other side. If you have to go anywhere on the other side,
Well, are they required to have crosswalks?
duh. How you gonna get across the street?
I mean, but why would you be crossing the street?
Cause I'm the chicken. I gotta get across the street, man.
Okay.
Okay, if I live, nobody lives on Union.
Let me think about that now.
So okay, hold on. So
Because Office Depot.
Office Depot. No, I'm way back this other way.
Okay, back to the, you said Burger King.
So
so you in the other direction.
right, you know where that Walgreens is?
I got you. Okay, yeah. Now
So
you're
that-
going the other direction.
Right.
I got
So
you. Okay.
right there is a light.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you now. Okay.
Right. And the
All right.
next stoplight from where that is
I got you.
is across the overpass,
I got you.
all the way down there by Methodist Hospital.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
That's almost a
Because
mile.
I was going in another direction.
Now,
Okay.
and then if you go the other direction, well, I'm glad you said that.
Right.
So where Methodist starts, there's a stoplight.
Right.
The next stoplight from there is down there where that dry cleaners is, where the Crystal is right there.
Yes.
Okay, that's the next stoplight.
Yes.
The next stoplight is almost down there by the
Office Depot.
Office Depot.
Yeah, it used to be. Yeah.
Yeah. That is, and there's streets all the way between all of those, Jerome. So how are you going to get across the street?
I don't know that they're required to do that.
I,
Because this is a shopping area,
yeah,
right?
but there's streets, for instance, there are streets that go across
Right,
Union
I agree, yeah.
all throughout there.
Right.
Even though there's no stoplights there, there's
Right.
streets that go across. And there's no stoplight there. There's a number of streets that go across Union, and there's no stoplight.
And they use stop signs.
Ain't no
Come
stop
across.
sign. There's no stop sign.
So there's streets that come across Union without any
Without-
kind of traffic control?
Without any kind of traffic
I
control.
wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. Next time you're down on Union,
I-
look at that.
Okay.
again, and this is a 4-lane, it's really a 5-lane street.
Right.
You know, 2 and then a turning lane.
So who determines where crosswalks need to be?
State now, because the state owns that.
Okay, so, and what do they say?
Oh, they
what
said
the
it's a,
response?
the
They said it was
response that,
response-
you know,
was a problem.
the city and the city has talked about that. There is a substantial area, they say Union and Poplar are the worst.
Okay, I got you.
Because there's these substantial stretches between those streets
Okay.
that you, and then there are streets that go between, but there's no lights.
Okay.
So how do I get across?
Okay.
Now, as a driver, you don't want all those lights.
And that's what my thought was.
Yeah,
that
you don't want all those lights.
pedestrians. I mean,
Your
so-
thing is pedestrians be aware.
Yeah, because they have to start across the street and just take off running.
Got to take off, man. But on Union, I'm not certain about Poplar, but
Okay.
on Union, they have a big yellow area in the middle that you can the safety zone.
And see, and that's where the problem is, because people believe if they and you just called it a safety zone.
Yeah, 'cause you
is
can't
that
cross-
what is that's what it's
Yeah,
called?
you can't cross those lines.
for vehicles.
Vehicles are not supposed to cross that line.
That's right.
So they just supposed to be in that line.
I got you. So if that's that makes sense.
Yeah, they got supposed to be in that line or cross that line.
It makes sense.
So I call that the safety zone.
Okay.
All right. Well, look, y'all.
That makes sense there. But in other words, tonight's show has been dedicated to pedestrians.
Man, pay attention.
Be aware
No,
of.
be-
Memphis, Tennessee, featuring gospel artists from around the world. Toe-tapping, hand-clapping, down-home gospel music. Watch on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and your local Comcast. Download the SVP TV app now on your smart television and mobile device. Center Stage Gospel season premieres Sunday, 8 p.m. Central.
Ladies, do you feel feminine during your feminine flow? You know, your monthly cycle, your period? Are you still suffering in silence? The suffering is over. It's time to choose Rain. Rain is an all-natural. Suffering is over. It's time to choose Rain. Rain is an all-natural premium sanitary napkin with 8 layers of cotton, high-grade polymers, graphene to help cut bacteria by 99.9%. Ladies, let's protect the most precious jewel in the world, you.
Rain Premium Sanitary Napkins do not make any medically backed claims or personal recommendations.